Hello, this is the Cuphead World Record as of the 23rd of November 2018. I got this one offline, so I'm just gonna do some post commentary on it. So I'll try and take this opportunity to explain a few tricks for this game. For the start, you can just kinda quit out of the Undercatter's house, nothing more there. And then, as for the route, you wanna talk to this Apple guy who's gonna give you 3 coins. And then, even though the category is named on bosses, we're gonna do one run and gun. And the reason for doing this run and gun is to take 5 coins, which is gonna enable us to get some weapons and be able to abuse of a specific glitch, which is called the weapon swap glitch, and pretty much allows us to deal much more damage than intended. First of all, this is one of the most difficult stages in the game. A lot of dashes here are really precise and really tricky, and everything just culminates in this ledge clip, which is comparable to frame perfect. So what I do usually here is just keep resetting until I get a decent forest follies going, which I did here. Although I wasn't able to get one extra trick, which I wanted to implement, which is a parry skip. Basically, parrying loses time here on this result screen, as well as it gives a little bit of screen lag. And skipping the parry can save up to 1 second. Unfortunately, you couldn't really do that. Okay, into the shop. I'm gonna buy Roundabout and Lopper, which is the strongest weapon combination in the game. Okay. So the root padding is one of the most straightforward bosses. There is some invisibility here, but that's it at the beginning, so that's why I turned back and used some roundabouts. I was trying to get a Lobbery Axe, and basically if you splash a Lobbery Axe next to the round, it actually deals double damage. So there's a couple of boss fights where I tried to use that. Unfortunately, didn't get a Lobber there. On a lot of bosses, what I'll do is I'll count my weapon swaps, and I'll try to manipulate the axe. But unfortunately, with the way I have to jump there, it's really hard to keep track of that. So don't even do that. I just use an axe and hopefully it's a Lobbery Axe. So overall, a decent root fight. You can get 28 on this fight, so it's nothing exceptional so far. Okay, so for this fight, there is a bit of an RNG wall. You can get punches or you can get flies. Flies is a pattern that allows you to get, at best, a 40 seconds fight. Especially here that I got the least amount of flies. You can get more flies and that's gonna give you a higher time. But you can also get punches, which is another attack that's a little bit longer. And that one either allows you to get a 44 seconds. Actually, I think you can get 43 now with double damage lobber abuse. But you can get a time around there, or you can go for a super skip, which is a new trick. You can basically get the immediate phase 3 transition right from phase 1 without even having to wait for the roll. That is an extremely trick to do, but if you can do that, the best time that's been obtained with that is a 37. So yeah, generally speaking, flies is the more consistent pattern, and that's the one I'm usually hoping to get. That was also a really nice time for 5 flies at 41. For Goopy, there's not really that much to this fight. I just dash at the start, because whenever I start shooting at the start of the fight, I just miss my bullets, so I just take that opportunity to dash. And then here, it's this new thing I'm doing. Again, I'm just trying to abuse the double damage Lobbery Axes. So I go here and I try to get lobbers. I do count these swaps, I do try to manipulate these lobbers. What I'll do is, I see what the first DX is, and if it's a lobber, I'll do 4 swaps before the next DX, and if it's a roundabout, I'll do 5. That's the way I go about it. And I've gone on multiple 20s with this strategy. Alright, just into the airplane blueprints. There's no way. I mean, there is a way to access Hilda without going into the airplane blueprints, but it's slower. and it requires 2-player mode. About this fight, this is one of the worst early game walls. You want to get a specific glitch that freezes Hilda, and that saves some time because you skip an invisibility period. Unfortunately, getting this trick is pretty precise. You have to deal a precise amount of damage so that you clear the second transformation phase right as it begins. And doing that just freezes Hilda in play, not in place, but freezes Hilda in that specific phase transformation. And getting this glitch is pretty difficult. If you don't get it, you lose 8 seconds, which is pretty much a reset. For me, at least. And here's the glitch. Unfortunately, this was a little bit of a slow heal. I got the tornado pattern, which meant I had to hold back damage a bit. If you over damage Hilda, you're gonna get a face skip. You have to deal the right amount of damage as soon as the phase begins. You cannot over damage, you cannot under damage. And that's the fight. So again, I got a 1-minute fight. The best time for me is a 56 seconds. Just the fastest anyone has ever gotten with full game strategies. Then I believe I got a really scary Cagni fight. You're gonna see, I'm pretty sure this is the run where I got it. There's not that much to Cagni, just in general. It's just that when going for the fastest strategies, I'm usually gonna have to take a few damage boosts. And that ends up getting a lot of scary fights. Yeah, I fall down here, which of course lost me some time. That's not even the scariest part of the fight. Yeah, I got hit, and then I tried to jump and use an X, and I didn't have the card yet. So if I didn't get the knockup on Cagni right there, I would have died. I still got a 24, so that was still a decent fight. But I believe it was 23 pace if I hadn't fallen down from the platforms, which is the fastest time of this fight. Anyway, just gonna talk until it dies, and move on to L2. L2 is probably gotten the easiest part of the run, despite probably having the most tricks. Because unfortunately, due to Forest Follies being an extremely difficult level and the Hilda glitch combined, IL1 is probably the roughest part of the run. Which, I mean, it's good that it's in the early game, but that also means I have a lot of early game resets. Okay, check out this Baroness fight. This is the fastest Baroness I've ever gotten. So I got the Mechanical right at the start. Then I do this trap to use the double damage lobby reactions. I get the quick kill on the Gumball machine before it even turns around, so that saves a bit of time with animation. And then I get this really quick muffin. I had never gotten such a quick muffin before. Then just get the knockout on Baroness. And as you can see, this is a gold for me. Got this really good time of 28 seconds. Okay, so I'm just gonna get mini-bombs. It's a secondary weapon for the plane stages, which allows me to use the weapon swap glitch on plane stages. I'm not explained it. Basically, the weapons that Cuphead has, the cooldown for those are handled independently. So if I keep swapping weapons between each other, then I basically get to use the benefits of both weapons at the same time. The timing is a little bit different from plane stages. I do my weapon swaps a bit differently, but the concept is that I basically use both weapons at the same time. Okay, good RNG on Wally so far. If you get specific patterns, then you're gonna have to hold back damage, or you'll have the second phase stuck at the top of the screen, and that loses a lot of time. Unfortunately, I was not so lucky in the final phase. This heart attack is slow. The heart is the only active hitbox at that specific point, so you have to actually go up and hit the heart if you want to deal damage. I still get that 37. Which is really nice. The best time for this fight is 35 seconds, at least for right now. Of course, new strategies keep popping up every time. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a 34 seconds wall eventually, or a 27 seconds Baroness. At least for these standards right now, 37 is a really good time. Okay, I believe I got a pretty good Jimmy fight as well. I put myself in this position. Basically, there's a hidden hitbox down below. Cuphead likes to store a lot of hitboxes off screen, and I can actually use that. Just like here, I can just keep shooting mini bombs off screen, and I'm actually hitting Jimmy, I'm dealing damage. Use a few plane axes in this pillar's face. Basically, plane axes, if the pillars are not already damaged, they actually get 3 ticks on the pillars, which contribute to the total damage dealt in the fight. And deal more damage than just taking down the pillars regularly. As well as it allows me to still get the nuke here at the end. So basically get extra damage period. And by the way, yeah, I did just freeze Jimmy here. This is not as precise as Hilda. All I have to do is actually over damage this phase, and that's it. So I can just go all in, unlike Hilda. That's a 51 second fight, which is again pretty good. Alright, for Pepe I just developed a new strategy actually, which I did use here. Basically his phase 1 patterns are sort of predictable, as in they follow a list in order. So if I see what the pattern here on the first cycle is, I can usually predict what this second pattern is. So I know in this case, since I got a really short pattern, that it's always followed by this very long pattern. So I can get the Pepe glitch without shooting axes. And what this Pepe glitch is, again, I just over damage the boss, so that I clear the second phase before the third phase even begins. And that just freezes Pepe and saves a lot of time with phase transitions. Also, I had some scary movement there on the balloons. I was really close to dying there. But regardless, got a 30 seconds fight. It's pretty good. Also, another boss freeze. We got 3 straight in a row here, actually, 9-2. It's another one on Grim. This one doesn't save any time, but if you get it, it just makes the fight easier. And we're gonna see it right now in a pretty interesting way. Alright. So this first set of clouds is actually always the same. And then after that it's RNG where you get the clouds. So I have to play this fight on reaction every time. Alright, there's another hidden hitbox there to the right. The hitbox lingers there for a bit. And then I get this boss freeze right here, which is pretty uncomfortable, to be honest. But yeah, that's what it is. And that did lose me a lot of time. There's only a tiny hitbox I have to hit, so I definitely missed a few bullets there. And I got the 33 seconds, which for reference, the best possible time for this fight is 29 seconds. So yeah, definitely one of the biggest time losses here. Not the biggest one though, you'll see later. Alright, that's done for L2. Just again, talking to the guys and moving on to L3. And on to pretty much the most RNG heavy boss of the entire run, Rumor Honey Buttons. Basically, she has a middle pattern and a side pattern. And if you get a side pattern, you cannot get a 1 cycle kill. You can only get a 1 cycle kill if you get the middle pattern. And getting that saves around 8 seconds between animations and stuff. Like here on the policeman, hold back damage a bit to make him walk closer to the screen. I think he has a slightly faster flying speed whenever he's not been knocked out yet. So do get this middle pattern. So I have the possibility for the 1 cycle. Unfortunately, like I needed, I just do not use these yaks, and yeah, I just choked it. I still get a pretty good time. If you get the middle pattern, you save a bit of time with animations. So still got a faster time than what you can possibly get with a side pattern. which is at 33 seconds. But the best time you can get here is at 28. So another pretty big time loss. So comparing to my, this is not my PB, my old PB, this is 23:45. My previous PB was at 23:43, but unfortunately Live Split did not save it. But comparing against the splits, starting from Dr. Cal's robot, I have time saves everywhere. So this is where I really start saving time, despite being around even right now. Alright, there's another glitch that makes this fight the fastest one in the entire run. Basically, the damage calculation is a bit broken there. So if you finish off the heart with a Bombi Axe at a specific health range, you can get the knockout. Unfortunately, it's not really that precise, but it's easy to mess it up. And if you don't get it, you lose around 20 seconds. A bit less if you decide to retry the fight, but it's still like a big time loss. That needs a reset for me. I have to get this glitch on the first try. That stage, I don't think I get the cleanest fight, but luckily I have a new tech here. Got to abuse the double leverage lob reacts. Decent first phase. Then I shoot these roundabouts because she's invincible right there. And then unfortunately I failed to manipulate the last lob reacts. I still got a pretty quick fight, but that could have been so much faster. You're not even gonna see an attack. And you're not even gonna see much of the final phase. It's a pretty quick and easy fight. But getting all the right tech can be a bit difficult. Especially since there is a bit of RNG in phase 1. So you've got a 39, and for reference again, the fastest time for this fight is a 36 seconds fight, which I personally have never gotten. My 2D is a 37. But still, that can be improved by a bit. Another pretty big time save for my PV was Vernon Vermon. And even here, I didn't exactly get the best of fights, but I still saved quite a bit of time. Another objective here in this fight is again abusing the double damage Lottery X. And to do that the way I want to, I need to save at least 1 HP for right here. So I can go to the right of him and do damage robbers here. Unfortunately I got nothing right there, so that lost me like a second. Plus I missed a few bullets in phase 1. And there's another Lottery X you want to get there, where 2 hitboxes are on screen at the same time, and you can get double damage. Unfortunately did not get that lobber. So again, the fastest possible time for a charm in this fight is a 30 seconds fight, and here I got a 33. So again, this is another improvement, but it's still like pretty good. Captain Briny Beard, he does have a bit of RNG. The first cycle is pretty consistent. There is a bit of RNG, as in you can have a bit of a pause. Right here, I get the longest pause. Like if he does 2 bullets pause, 2 bullets, that's the longest pause he can give you. And then this second cycle is entirely random, kinda. At that turn of damage to fall into another damage range, which always gives me the 3 bullets gun. That guarantees at least a 30 seconds fight. But still, there is quite a bit of RNG in this fight. And you can get a very fast pattern if you don't quite fall into the right damage range. And you can get a 2 bullets gun, which is possible to get into cycle on, but it's extremely tight. But if you do get that, you can get 27 seconds. I do aim to get that, but I wasn't entirely confident in getting to cycle here, especially since I got the longer gun pattern in the first cycle. Even if I had that back damage a bit, I likely would have still fallen in the lower damage range. And I didn't really want to take the chance either. Anyway, Calamari has another boss that has a troll. If she does the ghost attack first, that loses at least 5 seconds. Well, I think if she does ghosts into yellowfish, that's not as big of a time loss, but ghosts in redfish, that means I have to hold back damage to avoid a soft block. So that doesn't lose quite a bit of time. It's quite a dangerous fight as well. I have to do the second and third phase with 1 HP. If I mess up the movement in the third phase, then I'm dead. But either way, I still get a pretty good fight. Got a 39. And you might have noticed I'm not going for nukes. Basically, if I get the chance to do enough takes off damage with plain EXs, I can do what's called the Luigi swap, and basically I just do an EX and press weapon swap at the same time. If I do that, I can shoot regular bullets while the EX is going off. So if I have the chance for enough EXs, that actually outdamages the nuke. Even though you see lower in-game times with a nuke, that is because the in-game timer gets frozen while the nuke is going on. So you might see a 37 seconds fight with a nuke, but I can still get a 38 seconds fight without a nuke, and that's faster. Phantom Express is a pretty technical fight, but luckily it's also kinda RNG free. So that's a plus. I used to do a barrierless fight here actually to manage the lag. So I'll have the bricks hit the wheels so that I'll get less screen lag. But unfortunately it's actually slower, as cool as that strategy looks. There was actually a chance of a softlock there. We don't quite know why it happens. But after the third phase ends, there's a chance the train will never move and you actually get a softlock there. Luckily I didn't get that. It's pretty rare. It tends to happen on good runs. Anyway, that's a pretty good train, a 55. It's definitely something. That's definitely a good target time. Alright, so I'm -9 entering Inkwell Hell. And comparing against the splits, I got a decent endgame, but first of all, there is new tech on the demo. And secondly, there is quite a bit of RNG in King Dice. If I get the good RNG on King Dice, I can actually save quite a bit of time. Unfortunately, that was not exactly good RNG. You wanna have at least one heart here in the way, so that you can save time on the result screen. If you take 3 HP of damage during the fight, which is only possible if you have an extra heart, you can actually skip the HP section and save 0.8 seconds. Unfortunately, I didn't get any hearts, and that took 1 HP of damage, which I didn't want to get. So first of all, that means I'm gonna have to do something dangerous later on, and the fact itself that I didn't get hearts means that I will lose a second on the next split. Okay, 2 HP, I'm not getting extra HP. I actually fat fingered there, I didn't mean to jump that early. Luckily I still was able to roll a 3. Also got a pretty bad domino fight. Like, you can kill him right there, I wasn't able to. So this is already a pretty bad King Dice. And coming up is the monkey skip. Basically you wanna go for number 9, which is the monkey. Normally this is a really long fight. It's a game of memory. And you need to match cards, and then you get to damage a monkey, and then you have to repeat that 6 times. But there is a way to skip this fight. You can just clip the monkey out of bounds, and that gets the knockout instantly. And that ends up being the fastest possible. Unfortunately, one, this clip is pretty hard. And secondly, there is a random chance that if you get a specific pattern here, that it'll come back on screen. You won't have enough speed. Luckily, I was able to get it. And here's the scary part. I want to tank these cards. I don't want to get any berries, or they'll get counted on the result screen, as well as giving extra screen lag. But I only have 2 HP. You can tank these cards with 2 HP, but it's kind of difficult. As you can see, I wasn't just barely able to do it. I lost 2 seconds. I got a 131, and for reference, the fastest in dice is a 126. And here's the final boss of the game. For phase 1, he has a pretty wide variety of attacks. He has some pretty good attacks, then he has mediocre attacks, and then he has one terrible attack, which is the spider. And you can just say hi to the biggest time loss of this run. You can barely hit him. I got the longest spider too. I maybe did one less attack than normal, but still, there's really big time loss. And I think what actually saved this run, this is a record by 1 second. What saved this run is phase 3 right here. Lobber, lobber, another lobber. These lobbers I'm dealing double damage. I'm hitting both highs at the same time. It actually allowed me to get the 2341. That is it. 45 seconds devil, which, again for reference, the fastest devil is at 38. I lost so much time on this fight. So this time could have been much better, and hopefully get a faster time eventually. But for the time being, I'm happy to take the record back, and I'm happy to have a commentated run. Hopefully that helps some people. Yeah, thanks for watching. See you next time.